Hello, my name is Luke Bello, and I am here to I am here for the biology two. I mean, not two, 402 assessment. I had to jog my brain a little. So anyway, you said and by you I mean the teacher, which is my teacher. Anyway, you wanted me to do some type of presentation on a bay, whatever kind of, some type of bay or lake or river or whatever kind of water ecosystem there was. And I have come up with one in which is the St. John's River. Now, before we get started, we should know the basics. So, the basics on the St. John's River are that it goes from come on, get your head in the game. Anyway, we all know that the St. John's River is primarily the river that is in that is in Jacksonville, Florida, and the Jack's Beaches, which is basically the same thing. However, the Jack's Beaches Beaches is only the lower basin, which is comprised of since the basins are since the St. John's River has only 3 basins. The lower basin is basically the northern word, if you can see what I mean. So imagine this part of the line being this little finger being Jacksonville, Florida. This would be considered the lower basin since the St. Johns River is located down here, and by here I mean Vero Beach, Florida, or Vero Beach. It's spelled Vero, so I don't know how you pronounce it down here. So basically, the middle. So since these two are, since it's southern word, the middle basin would be somewhere in the Orlando area, in which the Orlando area has fun fact about it, the Orlando area is known for the Orlando's middle basin is known for overlining with Orlando, which is like one of the most famous cities on earth, or America for that matter. And it also houses is overlining with 2 lakes itself in the middle basin, which are Lake Monroe and Lake Harney. Now that we've gotten to the basics, let's talk about the science. So there is the St. John's River, as you all know, gets a lot of sunlight, but considering the fact that there are swampy lakes, cypress trees, and all that stuff, some of the St. John's River is actually covered, meaning that some of it is actually has a lack of sunlight, and which some of its some of its underwater plants, or whatever they're called, have little to no gap of photosynthesis. However, because of this, there is little to a regular amount of aquatic life. However, it is mostly valuable because of endangered species living there, such as mammals like manatees and some type of snail. I don't know what, but it was called a very weird name. And the deepest channel within the St. John's River is about 40 feet. However, because of the however, because of it basically increasing, because of the waters increasing over the amount of year due to tropical storms, hurricanes, thunderstorms, you name it, the what's it called? Salinity is gradually decreasing, not increasing, decreasing, because for the amount of water, because the more water there is, the salinity of it decreases. And on top of that, you also have subtropical wet and dry seasons, meaning that sometimes you'll get a lot of thunderstorms, but there's also the fact that that there's a godforsaken sun outside, so there's that. But the water, sometimes also during the seasons, it can be warmer than usual, except for the summer. Because normally, I felt this from experience, there has been a dramatically for sometimes of the season of the winter season or fall season, there's basically like a warmer amount of water, but there's also the colder amount of water too. However, and finally, there is also the fact that because of this, predictions on the climate change are basically weird, to be honest, because for the population growth, almost 7 million people are predicted to live in the basin of the St. Johns River by 2020, which either one of the basins, which is about the double amount of the 2008 numbers. But also there is a fact that since the climate changes have already begun across Florida, there have been lots of sea level rises, which are changing Florida's natural coastal ecosystems and presenting almost everyday challenges to maintenance of drainage systems, recreational beaches, coastal highways, emergency preparations, and lots more. And it's also said from the ClimateWise, this is all from the ClimateWise.org, except for the parts where the predictions are from ClimateWise.org, but other than that, it's like lots of other websites or lots of other research. So, anyway, it also said to better understand the impacts of climate change specific to the St. Johns River drainage basin, we, as in the ClimateWise Foundation, obtain data from global climate models that have been adjusted to local scales. And they use 3 different types of models to provide us, the viewers, and the others, which with a range of potential conditions. So, with that being said, although Florida is getting a lot of although the St. Johns River has been getting a lot of rising within, I don't know if that's even a word, considering the fact that although the water within the St. Johns River is rising, and there is little to no there's a lack of regular sunlight, and not to mention a lack of marine life, it still remains one of the largest and one of the most one of the deepest. It also remains one of the largest and deepest rivers in Florida, and is also connected to some of the most attractions. Who knows? If you guys can follow the river and a few lakes, you might find something very, very interesting. Anyway, I may have to go soon because I am supposed to see a couple of people today. So, wish me luck. See you later.